Now let's go ahead and insert some landscaping to this project. And in our Dropbox folder where you downloaded the file for our tutorial, there will also be a landscape file in there as well, which I have some trees and some vegetation that we can use for this project in there. And another way we can get some of our vegetation and trees is through 3D Warehouse. Just go ahead and click Get Models, and we can just basically type in any type of tree or vegetation that you want, and basically you can begin to create your own library of different types of trees or a bush, just some shrubs maybe. Let me go ahead and search that. Or if you know a specific name, let's say you're looking for red oak tree, let's see, let me click on that, search, and there's a red oak tree right there. So there's all kind of things we could find on here, some very good models in there. I would recommend to be careful inserting 3D trees. Let me go ahead and type a 3D tree, and a lot of times these are very large files and will really slow down your project in processing, depending on the computer you have. But so what I like to do is find a good 2D tree that when I render it or when I'm making images still looks very good. It will still cast shadows how I want, and it won't slow down my model too much. And also you can look for low poly trees, so that's something you may want to look for. Now I already copied to my clipboard some of the trees that I want to grab, and you can do that as well just by going to landscape and selecting these. Just hit edit, copy, and then we're going to go ahead and paste that into our model here. So I'm just going to hit edit, paste, and let's go ahead and just place this back here for now, and let's go ahead and move this up a little bit. Okay, now these are the trees I'm going to and bushes I'm going to use for this whole project, and I'm going to just manipulate some of these and place them where I want. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that, make sure it's touching my ground there. I'm going to go ahead and grab a base point to drag it, and I'm just going to go ahead and make some copies of this and do the same over here. And one thing I've learned with creating models that look a little bit more realistic is to try to get rid of the edge lines of your project, where we would have this grass, the ground meet these walls. Kind of want to blend that in a little bit so it's not such a harsh just a harsh view there. So just try to hide that a little bit. And let's go ahead and drag some of these over here. And we can also manipulate these. We can stretch them. Right now these I think are a little big, so I'm going to actually stretch these down, make them a little smaller. I don't want it to look like it needs the lawn cut. Let's put these larger ones up top on this planter. And I'm just moving and copying. And we can go ahead and modify some of these. Let's go ahead and stretch it just so that it fills in nicely there. Let's copy a few more of these. Oh, and there we can kind of see something not quite lining up there. Go ahead and move these back. And let's grab these taller ones here. And I'm going to use my stretch tool to modify this. I don't want it to be that big. And maybe we widen it out a little bit. And let's grab a couple more of these and place them around our model. I'm going to stretch it back out again. So you can do this however you want. Just add some vegetation. Just make it look a little bit more natural setting. Go ahead and drag some around this corner here. Just going to try and get a front shot of this, so I don't want to do too much. Don't want to add too much vegetation around the whole project, but as you can see, we can do that. Just grabbing these, and let's hit rotate 90 degrees. And let's go ahead and slide this down. And let's push it in our planner. Okay, now let's add some of these trees where we want them. And this I'm actually going to push outside of our project here, or our lot. Oh, and these Italian cypress trees, I believe is what they're called. Pretty nice trees, look good on a lot of modern style homes. So I'm just going to copy these, put them in a row. And let's go ahead and drag some of these, or let's place them along this side as well. All right, and let's place a couple more on this other end. And let's make sure they're touching the ground. It looks like they are. I'm just going to go ahead and copy a few of them over here. Now I'm going to go ahead and delete this extra terrain that we built earlier. And now this is one thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to stretch my terrain. So when I take an image of it, I can actually show a little bit more, a little bit beyond my property. And I grabbed a little bit too much there. Let's see if I can grab just my edge here. This is one way we can do this. I'm going to show you another way to grab an edge and not grab the wrong thing. Let's go ahead and do it on this side. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select this surface because I know it's flat. I'm going to right click, align view, and there it aligns my face with that surface. So I'm just looking directly at that. Now I could go to my camera, and we've been in our perspective mode, but if I change it to parallel projection, now I'm directly 90 degrees above this surface. So now I want to just select that edge, and now let's just drag this out a bit. Okay, now let's go back to our perspective view, camera perspective. And let's go ahead and drag this tree down a little bit. It looks a little tall. So when we get our view, we just can kind of begin to see these trees beyond it. Now, another thing I like to do when I'm creating my models is to try and hide the horizon line. Anytime you're looking at a just looking anywhere at a project, at a home, at a building, unless it's on a mountain, you're not really going to see your horizon. It's usually covered up by something, by buildings, by trees. So I just like to use trees to kind of blur that boundary between the ground and the sky, and just kind of gives your model just a nicer surrounding. And if we're not really that concerned about the adjacent properties, you know, we can kind of do this to just to blur that, to blur the site. And let's go ahead and copy a couple more. And let's see, so we start getting down into it, then we can start seeing that it starts hiding our horizon. So here we can see that if I just looked at it like that, you would see the horizon. But let's go ahead and drag these trees down, and let's move some around here. And let's add, let me move these to hide that corner. And there we go. We've added some vegetation, some landscaping to our project. And one more thing I'm going to show you for this lesson is how to manipulate your shadows. So let's go to Window, and let's turn on our shadows. And here we have our shadow dialog box. And here, this is what we want to pay attention. Well, actually all these are very important. So what I want to do is right here, this is the months of the year. So this is our calendar year. And here, this is what we do to toggle our shadows on and off. So let's go ahead and toggle it on. And it might take a second for your computer to process, but as you can see, there's the shadows there. And I can darken my shadows by just hitting dark, and you see the shadows become a little bit more defined. I could darken my whole model. I could brighten it up. And then here, when we start adjusting the time and the month of the year, then we start changing our angle. Here we can see the angles right there. And let's go ahead and just adjust the months. And there you can see it just starts changing my shadow. And here, let's change the time of day. And there we see it moving as well. Now there's one other thing that I want to show you, and that is how our shadows are being cast on the ground or on faces. Now when we just do faces, let me unclick ground, it's only the sun is going to be shining and it's going to cast a shadow on any surface you have and nothing else. Now when we have it on the ground, it's going to cast it on this 0 point that we have here. So it's kind of an imaginary ground. So let's see, if I move my shadows, you kind of see that I don't really have any surface here, but it's still casting a shadow there. So I usually don't like that to happen, because especially when I have a terrain that's sloping and turning, moving in different directions, it could kind of cause some shadows to appear that aren't really there. So let me go ahead and click off the on ground, and let's move our shadow somewhere a little bit more realistic where we want it. There we go. And there we have it.